Imagine walking up your front door and a stranger has just dumped a leaking bag of garbage directly onto your welcome mat. Your reaction is probably instant anger. You would never tolerate someone trashing your private space. But take 5 steps beyond your front gate and look at the street. But why do we tolerate similar behavior in public spaces every day? Today, let's take the dream test. Welcome to Build the Dreamverse. Suddenly, the same behavior, dropping a wrapper, spitting on the curb, leaving trash behind, becomes normal. India is racing towards the vision of a developed nation by 2047. The economy is growing, infrastructure is expanding, yet everyday public life often tells a different story. Neighborhood roads become dumping grounds, traffic rules are ignored, public spaces are neglected. The result is a civic deficit that affects safety, quality of life, and economic progress. Before we blame the governments or systems, let's ask a harder question. What role do we play in creating the environment we complain about? A large part of this problem comes from a simple mindset. This isn't mine. Because public spaces don't belong to us individually, many people feel little ownership over them. Civic responsibility becomes transactional. I paid my taxes, the government should handle the rest. Once that mindset takes hold, personal responsibility quietly disappears. But when citizens outsource cleanliness, someone still has to do the work. Many sanitation workers continue to face unsafe conditions, social stigma, inadequate equipment, delayed wages, and serious health risks. When a society treats those who clean its public spaces with disrespect, it unintentionally sends a message that cleanliness itself is low status work. Citizen behavior also responds to systems. When bins are missing, public toilets are unusable, roads are poorly maintained, and enforcement is inconsistent, compliance naturally declines. Over time, people begin to believe that following the rule is harder than breaking them. But here is where things get interesting. The evidence suggests that this isn't a permanent cultural problem at all. Take someone accustomed to weak enforcement and unreliable public systems. Place them in a highly organized environment. Suddenly, they queue properly, dispose of waste correctly, and follow public rules. Why? Because incentives change. The rules are clear. The infrastructure works. Enforcement is predictable. People adapt to the systems around them. This suggests civic discipline is not a fixed trait. It is often a response to incentives, accountability, infrastructure, and social norms. When doing the right thing becomes easier than doing the wrong thing, behavior changes surprisingly fast. The good news is that we don't need to look outside India for solutions. Many Indian cities have already demonstrated meaningful progress through cleaner neighborhoods, stronger civic participation, and better public infrastructure. Behavioral science also offers practical tools, visible accountability, community participation, better infrastructure, simple nudges that make good behavior easier. Comment the name of your city and the biggest civic challenge you face every day. Is it garbage collections, water logging, road conditions, public transport, or traffic violations? Let's create a public record of what citizens across India are experiencing. Maybe the right people will hear it, and maybe we can talk about the solutions together. A developed India requires more than economic growth. It requires public systems that work predictably. It requires enforcement that is fair and consistent. And it requires citizens who view public spaces as a shared responsibility. Now think back at the bag of garbage at your front door. You wouldn't accept it there, so why should we accept it on our streets? The dream test is simple. If the same behavior happened outside your own home, would you tolerate it? Because civic discipline doesn't begin with a policy. It begins with ownership. It begins when public spaces become personal. This is Build the Dream verse. Think better, build bigger.